Unfamiliar.
This was giving me all kinds of like really good Erica Badu vibes. Hey everybody, good evening, good evening. Come on in. It's like light a candle. Come on in everybody, good evening and welcome to another Coco Connect episode. What's up y'all?
Hey y'all, good evening.
I want y'all to get into this song, okay? Because this song is about us.
Get into it.
Come on. This is when you be like, when you get ready. Because what you say, what are we? Come on now.
I'm a black woman.
Everybody, this is Black Woman by Danielle Brooks. Come on, y'all. We don't own the rights to this music, but you know we gonna vibe out to it.
Sweet tea sipping, Nubian queen with the skin that glistens.
And you listening tonight too, sis?
Listen, I had to come with it. Had to wrap my hair up. I know a lot of y'all been asking where my wraps been. So I had to bring one out for y'all tonight.
Hello, Raps. Welcome, everybody. Start y'all watch parties. Invite folks to come. You don't want to miss this combo. We getting a little into it. It is a celebration this week, and we're going to do just that. We're going to celebrate. So how you doing today, Elle?
I am good. Had a good day today. I was super excited about our conversation tonight. I cannot wait to get into it. Happy Black Breastfeeding Week to all my brown moms. Yes.
Happy Black Breastfeeding Week, no doubt. I love a great day, so I'm glad to hear you had a great day. To all of those who are tuning in, it is Alexia, your Coco Mom Evolved, and I am here with...
I'm Elle, everyone, your proud Coco Mom.
And now yesterday, all three of them let me act up on my own. But today, they sent me in a chaperone. So, okay, here we go. Listen.
It was sometimes, you got to be careful.
And I'm not even the challenge one. The challenge one is on a flight somewhere doing her thing on her Coco Mom vibe with her Coco kid, Lonnie. So shout out to our two Coco Moms that are traveling with their kids today. Coco Mom Anika, our Healing Coco Mom, and our CBT Coco Mom T. But don't worry. We did not come alone. We did not come to vibe out with y'all alone. We have some beautiful Coco Queens here with us tonight. And hi, baby Blue Jay.
You say hi.
Hi. Is it right? Okay.
I'm working on her, y'all. I'm working.
Fine. Your hair is cute, and it's all there is to it. But today, our Coco project is busting loose. So for those of you who are tuning in, like Elle said, we are celebrating Black Breastfeeding Week, and we have three amazing Coco Queens on with us today. So please say hello to Danielle, Aaron, and Robin.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi, how y'all doing?
Doing great. Excited. Happy to be here.
Yes, it is so good to see all of you and more junior interns. Isn't that? We never really get a chance, because I think people are like, oh, I got to make sure. And by all means, if you needed to, well, we won't say lock them away for the social workers who might be watching. But if you needed to position them in another location, that's perfectly fine. But this is the one space where we like, listen, come on, bring the baby if you need to. Do whatever it is you need to do. If they go running past, it'll be fine. But we are so glad to be with you here today, celebrating Black Breastfeeding Week. How are you? Oh, wait, let me change the wording on that. So let me start with Aaron and then Robin and then Danielle, because that's how you all are on my screen. How are you doing today? What was like, today? Maybe the best part or the funniest part. What was today like for you?
Today was an interesting day. I say that because I started a new job a month ago, and just the dynamics. I work with a minority group, and I'm not a Black person here.
Oh.
But it's an all Hispanic company, And so it's just interesting to see the different dynamics from their perspective. So it was just an interesting day, but it was a good day.
Okay.
So no complaints whatsoever. I'm thankful for a job. I'm thankful I'm employed, but it was just an interesting day.
I love that. I love the interesting part. Congratulations on the new gig. That's super dope. Love that. How about you, Robin? How was today?
I did absolutely nothing. I slept most of the day. I did absolutely nothing.
Oh, now that's a great one.
So jealous. I'm so jealous.
I woke up to feed the kids, did the bare minimum, and now I'm here. But I did absolutely nothing. I did not go out. I went outside to check the mail, but that was about it.
Right. See, she said she fed the kids. So people like trying to take kids. And feeding is subjective, you know, like whatever that looks like for you in feeding time, that's what it looks like for you. They're fine.
They good.
Okay, well that glow is coming from someplace. Awesome. And beautiful Danielle. How about you? How was your day today?
Listen, I'm in between both of you ladies. My day was super weird, but I also did nothing. But I took the time, nothing meaning fed a whole child all day long. But I had the opportunity to take a moment to breathe. Jacoby is our junior intern who's already asleep on the job. He took such a long nap today that I was able to repot a plant. Like, who does that?
Nice.
It literally was random. So my day was good because I was able to do something that I normally have to schedule and wait for my mama to come to help me get stuff done. So it was interesting, and I did nothing, ladies. I feel both of you.
Oh, look at y'all. Come on, already blending and bringing the beautiful vibes together. And yes, Jacoby, that's fine. We won't put that in your performance appraisal. Don't even worry. It's quite all right. Potting a plant. So I don't have a green thumb, so I be trying to buy plants that like are notable not to die. Like, what is the snake plant? That's my favorite. I feel like that thing can survive an apocalypse. Like that thing is amazing.
It can, and you can repot that. You can pass it on to your friends, give it as a gift.
See. Thank you. I'm so glad you said that now because I was scared to repot it. So I was like, man, if I repot this thing, I know it's just definitely gonna die. But I'm glad you said that. I'm empowered now, and if all else fails, I'm taking it to Elle's house. So there you go.
There you go.
Bad.
My thumb is just as black as they get, so I don't know. I do not know.
Well, before we jump into our very important conversation for tonight, again, to everybody who's tuning in, thank you so much for joining us. Today, our conversation is centered around busting loose, and it is in celebration of Black Breastfeeding Week. One of next to Black Maternal Health Week, probably one of the months that for us, as we look in the area of maternal health and wellness, really look to encourage and lift up even more unapologetically. I think sometimes we kind of bite our tongue with certain things, and I know I have, especially as it relates to trying to subscribe and not get shut down by like the social media platforms and not get our content hidden. You know, we will oftentimes minimize, but this is a very important. So before we get into that conversation, we're going to play a little game with you. Could you live without? And so this is a fun game. We brought this game from a sister podcast that we used to support, The Legacy. Shout out to The Legacy. And it's really easy, I promise. You didn't need to study or anything at all. So I'm going to come up with one. Elle will come up with one. Could you live without? You all will choose between the two. Like, which one can you live without? You're just going to pick one.
Okay.
So the first one, all of you will answer, but I'm going to start with Danielle, who had the balanced day. So could you live without a motorized breast pump or a hand pump? If you try both. Have you tried both?
I've tried both.
Okay.
I couldn't live without the manual hand pump. My haka is my life, and y'all, I I give props to any woman who has pumped, because I did it for 2 weeks and I was like, oh no, I'll stay out of work as long as I need to. As long as my husband don't kick me out the house, I can't. The pumping is not for me. Give me that haka all day, every day.
She said
no shame in it.
Live. Okay, manual breast pumps. Now, for those who may not be familiar with the haka, can you just kind of give a high level? If you don't have one nearby, that's fine. If you right, she said, hold on, it's show and tell time.
It's right here.
Okay, thank you.
Listen, ladies, this is my midwife had this on the list of things that I needed to have. I'm a home birth mama too. My midwife said, you have to get this thing. When I got it, I was like, okay. You squeeze this bad boy. Well, first of all, you pop it back and then you squeeze it over your nipple and it does the work. It does the work. So I happened to see an Instagram post where the young woman, like all of us have experienced, the opposite side that she was not feeding on was completely drenched. And I don't do wetness. I do not like being wet at all. This haka saves my life in the middle of the night, as opposed to trying to bust out that manual pump. I mean, the electric pump. This just does the job for you. You sit in there minding your business. You do spill this from time to time, though.
Would you say that's
so? They have the ones with the lids.
Yes. Now but that's if your junior intern doesn't kick it off of your breast while you. Yes. Yeah. But yes, they do have a lid, and they do have one that has a base for the bottom now. Girl, they came up. Y'all must have complained and they listened to you. There you go.
Listen, it's so funny. I just wanted to share a funny story since Leah couldn't come tonight. Save your haka, because her 2-year-old would only drink smoothies from it in the morning with the straw. So it actually doubles as an infant cup.
Okay.
So there you go.
Noted.
They are a piece of work. I tell you, this crew, this generation of babies that's coming along, these 2019, 2020, 2021 kids, Coco kids, they coming in just like Danielle said, kicking in the door. Yeah. Right. They coming through. Right. What you say? Come on, Robin.
Saving the 4-4.
All right, Robin, since you you got the lyrics down, what about you? So what could you live without? A manual pump or a motorized electric?
I'm actually the opposite, because I only latched him. I started pumping once I went back to work, and I would use the electric pump. If I didn't have to go to work, I wouldn't have used any pump at all. He just would have been on. So I'm like the opposite. I've never used the haka. I've heard great things about it. People suggested that I get it. I never got it, but I'm the opposite.
Okay, that's pretty decent, Robin. And you know what? Since you brought up a good point, if you don't mind just sharing what it is that you went back to work to do. You don't have to share where and stuff like that.
Okay. I am a postpartum nurse. So after you have your baby, I'm there. I'm a nurse to take care of the mom and the baby.
Kudos to Nurse Robin and our other nurse on staff. She stayed messing. Our proud Coco mom, little nurse down there, right in the corner. Kudos to y'all. Thank y'all for stepping in, especially representing the Black and Brown. We'll get into that in a minute too. There was an amazing article that we saw today by 2 amazing journalists at CNN. But lifting up all of the Black birth workers and those who support Black births intentionally. Gail just said she had a midwife, and she also did a home birth. We have a midwife, shout out to Coco Michelle, who was Elle's midwife, right? And does some amazing work. So shout out to all of you all for that. And Daniel, I'm sorry, we didn't get a chance. You can chime in too. How are you currently serving your community in a professional capacity, whether it's a mom or a community, whatever it is? How are you serving your community?
Yes. Well, I serve as an educator. I am a 9th grade educator. I teach African history. I teach
Ooh.
history the way it should be taught.
Right.
And I was blessed to have Jacoby at the beginning of the summer, which meant that I had an automatic 2 months off. And
Yeah.
I had to make the tough decision. Do I stay home with my child or go back to school with my children? It was a tough call, but a no-brainer. Is that fair to say? It was
For you.
yeah. So an educator.
Awesome. And African American studies. Absolutely, we need that. We just had a conversation a few weeks ago on another platform that we support called What's the Chew, where we talk about culture, health, education, and wealth, and with a friend of the show and publicist. And one of the things we were talking about is the whole critical race theory. And, you know, we're not even going to go down that line. That is for another Coco Connect. But thank you for your influence
Absolutely.
from the educational perspective. Thank you, Robin, for your influence from the medical perspective. And Miss Erin D, if you could, which would be that you can, which one could you live without? Manual pump or a motorized pump?
I could live without the manual because I never used one. So I started nursing and then I went to the pump, but even with the pump, he never really liked a bottle. So he was just here. But when I had to pump, it was the electric pump. So yeah, more power to you with the manual pump. I've heard great things about it, but I just know that I will probably be the one dropping it versus my son.
He's like, oh. So, and Erin, and we know, based on how your day went, that you are in a multicultural environment. Well, multicultural environment because you're there too.
Right.
How
Pizza Issa.
Yes.
Yes. Good call back.
yes, come through.
Got y'all.
Our own personal. How do you serve your community? And again, y'all don't have to share names of places. We understand confidentiality, but how do you serve your community?
So I am actually a political director, and I help with organizing the organization. So I kind of wear two hats, as we often do within our, within our work spaces. So that is what I do, and it's actually new to me, but I'm learning a lot. So it's interesting.
Come on, we the people. Yes, Erin. Again, like we said, this amazing Women's Equality Day, Women Equality Day, and the day we were reading up on that, I believe the Voting Rights Act was passed for when we were given the allowance to vote. We were able to vote in and around this time period. I know that was a major reason for that. I saw where President Biden had even put up on the White House page about Women's Equality Day and the importance about it and things like that. So y'all, you see, we're not playing educator, medical professional, and in politics. Okay, our Coco queens come correct all the time. Elle and I just slum it, so don't worry about us. We mess real good. So and a few different things. So Elle, what's your could you live without?
Could you live without? All right, we'll start with Danielle again. Could you live without a nursing bra or a regular bra?
I guess a nursing bra. You know what? Here's the truth. I don't think that I have even bothered to try a regular bra since I've started nursing. I've been nursing for 3 months now. Jacoby is 3 months. And I haven't even reached, you know why though? Because I can't fit any of my old bras. So I've only ever purchased a nursing bra. So I'm gonna have to go ahead and say nursing bra.
Okay.
That little bitty bra is gone.
Listen, okay. All right, Robin, how about you? Could you live without a nursing bra or a regular bra?
I would have to say the regular bra. With my first son, I didn't wear bras. Even when I went back to work, I just wore those little undershirts with the little piece in there, the little camis. I didn't even like the way bras felt anymore. So I don't care. I went to work, and if I started leaking, it came through. I had the pads on, but I would have to live without the regular bra. And now I still wear my nursing bra.
They
I
are.
still wear it. Yeah. And I just recently started to wean him, but at work I still wear my nursing bra and stuff, and I don't even pump anymore.
Okay. So, like, just
it's weird, but I don't know.
I still wear my sleep bra, and I mean, I haven't even used it. We just started weaning too, but yeah, I still wear my sleep bra, so nursing bra.
Mm-hmm. I feel like they're more comfortable. I don't know.
They are. They're like sports bra-esque. Like they give you good. Yeah. It's good.
Yeah.
Aaron, how about you? Could you live without a regular bra or a nursing bra?
I could definitely live without a regular bra. The nursing bras, like you said, they're sports bra-esque. And so they're just more comfortable. And I don't have a whole lot to begin with. And so I don't need anything restraining me. And so the nursing bras are just more comfortable or give me a sports bra.
Would you say set them free? Let my people go.
Listen, I feel y'all completely. I definitely love the nursing bra, especially when I was pumping, because you can stick that bad boy together. I'll be washing dishes, just pumping, living my life. Blue Jay would be asleep. I'm like, yes. Now my nursing camis, I do still wear those, the camisoles that you can click it.
Yeah.
Listen, and she's not even nursing anymore, but I just like the camis. I don't know. I might keep them. I'm gonna be
right. I feel like some of these things are an investment, and you just be like, I don't want to get rid of this. And they, they're a little more pricey. And God forbid if you tried to find a cute one at Target, them things was like double the price of any of these things, these nursing bras and camis. So I'm with y'all. I think like I said, I kept the sleep nursing bra from the 9-year-old. And I now have an almost 2-year-old. So I kept that one because I was like, this is really kind of comfortable. And I'm not super well endowed, but enough that sometimes getting to sleep can be a little suffocating.
Like, I'm gonna need for it to be. You had the one from 9 years ago.
I feel like you're judging me. Let's move on.
All right. I just like that was a lot. That was a lot for me to process. Okay, you're right. Let's proceed. It's bad enough Robin's still wearing the daggone thing at work, and she haven't breastfed in almost 2 weeks. Now
at work can tell when I have on which other bra, and that's the bad part.
They can tell.
They can tell. Like when I started wearing my regular bras, they was like, "Oh, look at your boobs! Oh, they got bigger! Oh, this and that." I said, "That's because I don't have on my nursing bra."
Like, she got a nursing bra today.
But wait, ladies, I had to quickly remind myself that you're a postpartum nurse, so it's a little more acceptable that people notice what bra you wear. I'm sitting here like, wait a minute, where's HR?
No. We talk about boobs and vaginas all day long, so
it's so normal.
For those of you who are tuning in, they are postpartum nurses in a hospital. Okay?
Yeah,
they
women's health. Like, if anybody ever walked on any women's health floor, like, yeah, that is just the nature of. It's just the nature of it.
Yeah.
Different.
Of course. And so that actually kind of brings me to the first question that I have this Black Breastfeeding Week. So all of us have nursed in some capacity for some of the time. We've tried our hand at pumping. If I was going to answer that question, I would say in the beginning, I could not live without the electric pump. But by year 2 after finishing up the first year, the manual pump, like the manual pump one, became like my best friend. It got more out for me than the electric pump was, which was strange because that's the difference, right? The first time each pregnancy is so different. My first pregnancy, I was like a cow. I mean, like I could breastfeed and then pump like probably 9 ounces per boob right after breastfeeding. It was insane. I was able to donate everything. This time, no, I could pump like a little. I might get 6 ounces between the two. And so my first question that I have though, and I'll start with Danielle, especially since you know right in the thick of it. What made you decide? Like, did you come into this knowing that you wanted to breastfeed into pregnancy, or like what kind of like opened your eyes to breastfeeding?
I've always known that I was going to breastfeed. It wasn't even a question for me. I knew that my mom breastfed, and I like to believe my brother and I turned out well. So there's a lot of stuff that she did that I was like, okay, I'm gonna do what she did. There's no reason to question. But I will simply add that I was so focused on pregnancy and labor and delivery, I literally forgot that I was going to have to raise a child after this. And so when Jacoby came out, it was literally like, there's a tiny human here. What do I do now? Like my husband and I almost had not conversed about what's next. And so I knew that I wanted to breastfeed, but I had no idea. I was not privy to the ups and downs, the ins and outs. I was not mentally, emotionally, physically prepared for it. I'm grateful that I stuck it out because week 5 and week 6 almost took me out. But here I am, having chosen to breastfeed simply because I just knew. I didn't add that I'm also a doula. I do not actively serve as a doula right now because, again, that choice between my children at my school and children who are coming into the world is a tough call. But I have been doing that for 7 years, so I was exposed enough to breastfeeding to know that that was the only way to go. Not the only way to go, only way that I wanted to go.
Awesome. And I'm just curious because you know, I thank you for lifting that up the way that you wanted to go. Because so let's just put it out there. We know fed is best. We do know that. So if for any reason you're unable to, choose not to, whatever that may be, we understand that. And we understand that there are some major benefits to breastfeeding, which is why we lift it up so highly and really encourage, especially our young moms, our young Black and brown moms, to get into it, into breastfeeding and give it a shot, you know, and just see if you may surprise you. Excuse me. So, but you made me laugh when you said, you was like, I focused on the pregnancy and the childbirth part. And I was like, oh, wait. Okay, now that they're here, oh, wait.
Wow. I was hit with a ton of bricks afterwards. I was like, he's adorable, but now what?
It's so funny because after Blue was born, I was so obsessed with breastfeeding her that I forgot to change her diaper for like literally like 2 days. Like everybody else was changing her. And I was like, it's been 2 hours. Did she eat? Did she eat? Did she eat?
It bees like that, sis. I get it.
Wow, that's hilarious. And I appreciate your transparency with that. What about you, Robin? How did you know? What made you think about breastfeeding?
My son that I just had, it was kind of like a no-brainer. This my second go around. I knew I wanted to breastfeed, and also the profession that I'm in, I just know like all the benefits of breastfeeding. The first go around with Dawson, I wasn't as educated as I am now. I was a trauma nurse at the time, so I knew absolutely nothing about breastfeeding, postpartum. I knew nothing about babies. Nobody close to me was breastfeeding. I just was like, all right, this is what I want to do. I struggled in the beginning really hard. Like, I was ready to quit, but I was so like determined, like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want for my son. I had crack bleeding nipples. I was pumping out blood. It was bad. I had lactation people coming to see me. I'm like, wait, it's blood in my milk. They're like, no, it's okay. You can still give it to them. But I was just determined, and it was really hard in the beginning. It was so hard. Like, I had scabs all on my nipples. The shower hurt. Everything hurt. It was so bad. Like, I'm like, if I can do this, I think anybody could do it. Because I hung in there, and
yeah,
it took some time, but I hung in there, and I'm glad I did. But it hurt. It hurt.
Come on, Robin. Claps for Robin. Okay, sis. And thank you for that transparency, because it's sometimes I think the notion, it can be like everything else, especially on social media. It's like, oh, this is so glorious and so easy. And like I said with my first child, it was seamless for me. And I was like, and now I never had any, well, I take that back. My aunt had breastfed 2 of her kids. One, I think 10 months, and the other one 22 months. So that was my only exposure to breastfeeding. And I had a girlfriend who had tried it for a little But because it came so easy to me, when the second go around and it was like crazy, I was like, what is this? So what kept you kind of like pushing through, Robin? Like, what kept you like, just like, listen, I'm gonna keep this up.
I honestly don't know. I just know this is what I wanted to do for my son.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I don't want to give him formula, and I don't know, because I'm like, anybody else in my shoes, I feel like they would have quit.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I hesitate to tell my patients this story because I see them struggling, but then I share it with them, and I'm like, listen, so if I could do it, you could do it. Because I've seen nobody like that. I've seen nobody who had bleeding nipples, scabs, or anything like that.
And that's why I think it's so important to share that sort of stuff, because like Alexia just said, like everybody highlights the really, really great things about it because it is great. But like even to the point where like I knew I only wanted to breastfeed, and initially I had an overproduction of milk, so much so that I intentionally decreased the amount of milk that I was producing for her, because I would wake up literally everything soaked, like puddles and puddles of milk. I would wake up. So I did it on purpose to decrease my supply. And then I got to the point where when I went back to work, I was out of milk, and I did not want to. So then it started making me sad. I was like going through depression, like, oh my God, my body is not doing what. To the point where I had my cousin, who also has a baby like 7 months older than Blue. She shipped me up milk by her fiance from Maryland, so I wouldn't have to give my daughter donor milk or any other sort of like formula or anything like that. And so I feel like sharing our challenges is just as helpful as sharing the great things, because it can encourage in a way and show people like, no, it may be some bumps in the road. It may not be seamless. It may not be so easy, but it's worth it.
It's definitely worth it.
I try to tell them, I'd be like, I don't want to scare you all, but let me share this with you.
Right. Well, it is. It's encouraging. It's like, still give it a shot, but just know if you run into anything, absolutely know you're not alone. That's what we all feel, right? When it comes to things, whether it's work, marriages, relationships, whatever the case may be, friendships, you just like to feel that you're not alone if you're going through the struggle of something. And so same thing for you, Erin. What kind of was your inspiration? How did you know, like, yes, breastfeeding, I'm going to give this a shot?
So I started my vegetarian journey like 4 years before I even got pregnant. And so that means that I wasn't drinking regular milk. And so I was like, well, why would I give my child regular milk? And so I was just like, I want to give him as much natural as I possibly can. I was like, knowing the benefits of breast milk and doing my research, I was like, that's going to be the best. Now, what I didn't know is that when you have a C-section, your body doesn't necessarily connect the dots automatically.
Right. Your hormones don't automatically. Oh,
so in the beginning, I was not able to produce any milk because I had to have a C-section. And so I was in tears. I was like, I can't give my baby any milk. And the nurse was like, no, you just have to, keep going. And eventually he'll be able to get the milk. But I didn't know that in the beginning. No one told me. And I didn't know I was going to have a C-section either. So, and then on top of that, in the beginning, my son couldn't latch because he had a tongue tie. And so we had to feed him through a syringe. So I had to get him the syringe and feed him that way. So it was a challenge for me in the beginning. And just like with Robin, some people would have been like, I'm not going to do this. I'm just not. But I pushed through because I knew that was what I wanted for my son. And again, the benefits of breastfeeding. And so I stuck it out 18 months. And ever so often, he still is like, no.
Because you just weaned him then, right? Because you say he's 1.5 years. So this is new weaning situations.
Yep. Literally, it's been a month.
Wow.
That we've been without any milk. And like I said, every so often he'll point or he'll try to lift up my shirt, but he's good.
Okay. Ooh.
Ladies, I want to. Little guy decided he wanted to enter the conversation, but I want to just add 2 things. The first is that Robin, I'm with you. there was some rough moments for me where I reached out for help. Ladies, whoever is out there listening, there are so many resources. You do not have to be in this alone, right? But one of the things that made me continue as an African history teacher, ancestors, literally, they did this. Our ancestors did this for generations, for thousands of years. And then I had a moment where I was breastfeeding Jacoby, and I was able to breastfeed him in my traditional wrap. And I thought to myself, how many women on the Underground Railroad brought their breastfeeding children with them and had to hide and had to, sustain themselves in order to prepare, make sure that their children were well. So for me, thinking about how to overcome the difficult moments, I literally had to ask myself, how many women before me overcame it? How many women exist right now because their mothers fought through the cracked nipples, fought through the puddles of milk that they woke up in, fought through the fact that, they were leaking through their clothes at work and whatnot. So that's what inspired me to get through. But I also want to add, there were moments where my husband and I had issues in the house because he would watch me struggling. Your partner does not want to see you struggle. And so the first thing that he said, it wasn't the first thing, he tried to tough it out. And then he was like, babe, let's give him formula. It's okay. I had not had the conversation with my husband how important breastfeeding was to me. And I would encourage everybody to try to have that conversation with whoever you live with. If you are interested in breastfeeding, you need somebody in your corner to tell you to keep pushing past that night where you're just like, I can't make it. I'm not going to be able to do this. Go buy the formula. And there's nothing wrong with doing that either, because like we said earlier, fed is obviously best. But if that's something that you really want to do, is to, meet a certain goal with breastfeeding, have somebody in your corner who is going to help you to overcome those tough moments.
And I think you lifted up a very important thing about having a conversation with your loved ones, because I can remember I was in a situation where a lot of people told me, like, it's too much stress. Just give her a bottle. And like, that's the last thing you want to hear as a breastfeeding mom who wants to breastfeed and is struggling. I can see, like, if your baby is losing weight and they're not thriving and like it's medically necessary for you to supplement with formula. But if it's because you're a bit frustrated, like, you got to make sure that, like, you have these conversations with your village and those who will be around you. Like, listen, I plan to breastfeed. I would really love for you to encourage me through that process. Like, and don't just tell me, just give them a bottle, because that is very, very frustrating to hear from people when all you want to do is, and you're doing well at it, and it's not like medically indicated to.
I didn't say that to you, did I?
You didn't.
Okay.
No. It was Trish. You know it was Trish. She's about to get
No, I thank you for that. Thank you all for, sharing that piece, and especially lifting that up, Danielle, Robin, and Aaron, about just the intentionality and when it gets hard, and like you said, sharing with your village, because again, we don't really even get a chance to think about all the intricacies that come with this experience, and especially when you want to breastfeed, or especially if you decide that you want to use cloth diapers, like whatever it is that seems out of the traditional norm of the current time, we'll say. Right? Because all of these things started somewhere. It's like you got to have these conversations so that your village will step in and your community will step in for you and face the way we're supposed to. So that being said, I got to bring this point up because it's what's current. It is and was what was currently going on. Saisha and her family in Tyrone, and so because of what you all mentioned about breastfeeding, right, and how all of us have shared that it can be challenging, has been challenging, challenging. the fact that, you know, she decided, her and her husband decided to take their oldest son in. For those of you who are tuning in that may not be familiar with the story, you can catch up with it anywhere, but especially on her page at Saisha. Saisha was also a finalist on American Idol, and she took her son in back in February, Ra, because he was at the recommendation of another practitioner of his practitioner, because he wasn't drinking fluids from like a cup or a sippy cup, but this was a breastfed child that she was actively weaning. And so even though, Danielle, you're just starting, you can already see the forest for the trees, that is not necessarily the easiest journey. They love the breast. Like they be with it. And so that turned into this whole situation where CPS down in Florida got involved, and it just spiraled out of control. They even took months later, when she had their daughter, that baby was taken. Like, they were literally surrounded on their way home from the hospital. Now I'm gonna tell you, sidebar, I don't know why they went back to the hospital to have this baby. It may have been something that personal, I don't know, because they didn't say. But I tell you one thing, I'm sure that this has now put a very bad taste in their mouth from a medical perspective. And so there's like two things that are circling around my mind. But the first thing that I kind of want to lift up, so they got baby girl back. They got her back. They were able to get her back. They're still fighting to get back Ra. And so when you heard that story, or if you just heard it for the first time now, and thinking about the struggles that you went through, in your experience, whether you had the child at home or had them in a facility, how important is it? Let's start with you, Robin, especially in your profession. Like, how important is it for you to understand how your facility, how your midwife, how your OB, GYN, what their practices are, and vice versa? Like, making sure that everybody is on the same page when it comes to baby coming into the world. Like, how important would you say that is to have those conversations, and to try to come up, you know, with a plan if one does not exist?
Well, I wanted someone for a provider. I actually went and seen Michelle as well, the midwife. So I wanted someone who looks like me and understands me. So that's why I decided to go that route. I wasn't really into like the home birthing, and I was all for an epidural. I mean, yeah, having an epidural, but that didn't happen. I had to end up going natural because how fast it happened. And this is what my second son, I didn't want to have him at my hospital, of course. So I drove all the way to another hospital, almost had him in the car. By the time we got in there, I delivered within 8 minutes. And I don't know, it was just everything that I didn't expect.
Wow.
Everything that I didn't expect, all while wearing an N95 mask. It was just like, I had no time to plan anything. It just happens. So whatever I did have planned, that went out the window.
That absolutely happens. Robin, as a nurse too, have you run into situations where, you know, women come in and all things being equal, that they can try to invoke these plans? Have you run into situations where women are, or families are, like afraid, like, okay, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I had this plan, or how do I activate this plan? Like, what sorts of...
Yeah, they do. They come in, they have birthing plans all the time. They come in with their birthing plans. And a lot of times when they come in with their birthing plans, stuff happens. I don't know why, but it just does. Elle can speak on that. When people come in with birthing plans, stuff just go left. I don't know why.
I always would tell my patients, like, it's okay to plan, because that sometimes makes you feel like you have control, right? And some people just, their personalities, you need to be in control. But being pregnant, giving birth is like the first inkling of being a parent, right? And just showing you that, like, this child really runs the show, right? We act as parents, like, oh man, it's gonna be, our kids gonna be watching this one day and they're gonna be like, see, I'm in control. But anyway, I'm gonna say it. But no, the kids really run the show, right? it is up to your baby. So yes, have the plan, and we'll try to stick to the plan as much as we can, as long as it doesn't jeopardize your health. But sometimes there are things that people want to do that in the moment may not be realistic due to the situation. And so being flexible is legit the best plan you can have. Like the first thing on your birth plan should be flexible. And then everything else, write whatever you want, write a book. But be flexible should be the first thing that you have on your plan.
I wish someone would have told me that, because this is my first child and my birth plan, like, it was all nice and typed up. I was like, here you go, here you go, here you go, here you go. Everybody has a copy, great. And nothing went to plan.
Oh gosh, you are 100% correct about them running the show. As I hear my house being torn up right outside my door. It does happen. And so when we think about the statistics of breastfeeding, Black women, we get for the lack of a better term, a bad rap, if you will, or the assumption is that we don't breastfeed. But here you sit with, 5 women, would have been 6. So shout out to Leah. Thank you for your interest in being able to come on. We know things happen. That's why you got to be flexible. But we do actually breastfeed. So in these capacities, did you face any, wow. All right, come on over. Did you face any scrutiny when you decided, to breastfeed? And how was that? Like, did you feel like it was pushback from people? Like, well, why do you want to breastfeed? This is not a real hammer, by the way, so nobody calls CYS. Did you feel any pushback? Was it difficult? Like, did you feel judgment for it? Whoever wants to take that one to start with, please feel free.
I'm going to jump in if you ladies don't mind. I had very little pushback until it was time to converse about whether or not I was going back to work in August/September. And I simply stated, I want to be able to exclusively breastfeed for as long as possible. I did not use the word exclusively. I just said, I want to be able to breastfeed. And immediately the person I was conversing with said, oh, you can just pump. And I said, well, I mean, that's definitely an option. However, I would like to be able to exclusively breastfeed for as long as possible. And the whole conversation turned. That was my first time encountering another Black woman attempting to dissuade me from doing what I wanted to do for my child. Now, we're not talking a matter of formula versus breast milk. We're talking breast milk versus breast milk, but how it's delivered. And it totally threw me off. It did not throw me off course, okay? Because there's hardly anybody in this world who could throw me off course from doing what I want to do. Right. But I definitely had a moment of, oh snap, this is the bare minimum of what some of our sisters face when it comes to doing what we believe is best for our children. And I want to take it back for a minute to Saisha, because what I'm to understand, and ladies, correct me if any of you know differently, I believe the second daughter, the daughter who was taken, had been birthed at home. And so there was a question or concern about the second child. If the first child was put into protective custody, then the second one needed to, be looked after. And that immediately tore me up, because all that Saisha kept saying was, she's breastfed. My child is breastfed. How are you going to feed her? And if any of you watched part of the video clip, the social worker came with a hand pump, and it was pretty much like, handle your business, we're taking your child.
Right.
And that was soul crushing to me, because I don't know whether or not Saisha was still breastfeeding Ra when he was taken into custody. If somebody stops me from breastfeeding my child to the point where I don't have, a supply anymore, or my supply is threatened, I have no words. I cannot imagine. This is one of the reasons I have been praying for them constantly, because that has now changed the development of that child's brain and that child's relationship with her mother and that mother's relationship with her child. Right. So that really took me aback, because she just kept pleading with the women who were standing there. Don't you have hearts? Don't you understand? Don't you see what I'm experiencing and dealing with? And I think that in this society, oftentimes breastfeeding is something that is sort of like a luxury in a sense, because I even recognize that for myself, if I had gone back to work, because I told y'all I don't like to use the electric pump, where would I be right now? Would I still be breastfeeding? I can't be too sure, right? And I think I've had 2 students in the past year who gave birth, and one of them tried to breastfeed, and then the other did not even consider it. And that's a whole different conversation, thinking about teenagers, the younger women, the younger Black women who automatically assume that they need to be on formula, whether it is pushed by their family, whether it is pushed by a hospital. It's just not a large enough conversation to where a lot of Black women aren't even thinking about, I should breastfeed, or, it is an option for me. I think sometimes it is just formula is the way to feed your children, and which is why this conversation. Oh, the child has my hair. Why this conversation and Black Breastfeeding Week and Breastfeeding Month is valuable and important. I said a lot. This is where I press.
I think it was necessary to say, and I'm glad, and thank you for lifting that up, because that was a question I had. I was like, did they really go back to I couldn't imagine. So I am inclined to believe that it was home, and maybe they were just coming from a point. I don't know, but I do know I can see it was intentional to break up a family, to add trauma to our story. And we already know about ACEs and the adverse childhood experiences and how they play into our kids as they grow. And so starting off at that juncture is just more trauma, more adverse experiences for them.
And I did want to add too, just about like breastfeeding being a luxury. Like, everyone doesn't have the ability to stay home. So then what happens is, like, our jobs don't provide the appropriate like spaces for us to even breastfeed. And I worked in women's health, and I was a nurse who teaches moms how to breastfeed. And I would sometimes work 12, 13 hours, no lunch break, can't go pee. So how I'm expecting to pump while I'm helping all these other people, like, oh, I'm sorry, don't push and have your baby, I gotta go pump. It's not realistic. And so that was one of the things that I struggled with when going back to work, is like, I'm teaching all these women all these things that I can't even do. And so the best thing that was ever created, I had the, was it Willow? The Willow pump?
Something big?
Huh?
What was it? Yeah,
remember, but it was like a pump that I could put inside my bra. So like, I put it inside the nursing bra, and it was like these big cups, so I looked like I had big boobs for a little while. And the motor just kind of clips right on your hip, and I would legit be like at work pumping, because I knew that the environment that I was working in was not conducive to every 2 hours me going and pumping. And so I would put that on, I would pump and like just empty it. It held like 6 ounces for each breast, and I would pump maybe for an hour or whatever, however long, and then I would go and empty it and kind of go about my business. So that is one thing that has been created that actually helps us, those of us who do have to go back to work while breastfeeding, is it doesn't get out as much milk, but at least it gets out some, because the little closet or bathroom or whatever, some of these jobs, now we did have a nurse, like we have a room in the hospital for us to go pump, but I know some employers don't even, they might provide for you some random closet that they just emptied out all the paper and was like, go sit in there. And so for those who may be watching who do have to go back to work, look into the Willow pump and the, I really can't remember the one I had.
Wasn't it the Free Me?
Yes, Free Me. Free Me holds more milk than Willow. Yes, it was the Free Me pump. So look into it because it's actually covered with your insurance. So you know how we can get like a free pump with our insurance. Free Me is covered with insurance. So if you just Google it, the link will all be there. You submit it to your insurance company and they will give it to you for free.
Thank you for lifting that up, Elle. As far as, yeah, that's true. You know, check with your insurance provider on many things. And Aaron, what about for you? Did you face any backlash or anything when trying to breastfeed?
Not until he started to get older. Then they were like, well, when are you going to stop? You just going to have him on your titty all day long? And I know in my mind, I wanted at minimum to make it to a year. But I also know in my mind, if I could go longer, then I wanted to go longer. But around 8 months, people say, well, when you going to stop? You still going to breastfeed him? Why you don't give him no bottle? And he never liked a bottle. So that wasn't even an option. Even when I would pump and put it in a bottle, he didn't like it. He wanted the actual skin to skin. And so when it started creeping up to a year, I was like, okay, I made it my year. But then I was just like, I like the bond with my son. And to me, the 18, when I the cutoff time was, then I started to be like, okay, all right, now you can't just lift up my shirt and go. I was like, okay, let's pump our brakes for a little bit. So that was more so on me than it was on him. But if I would have, honestly, if it wasn't for that, I probably would still be breastfeeding. And so it was more so as he started to get older that people were just like, well, when you gonna stop? Why you just got this grown man hanging off your chest? Like, he's still a baby. So that's where I got the most pushback from when he started to get older.
And honestly, that pushback, that whole grown man, is because for whatever reason, somehow people think breastfeed is not sexual. It's over sexualized, and that's not what it is. This little one here, he will be 2 in October, and we finally weaned at 22 months. So 22 months he weaned. Literally, I was just like, I'm making it to National Breastfeeding Month, and I want to see, as long as I can go. And I did have the ability to work from home a lot more. So that put me in a position. And you're right, Elle. I've been in the spaces and tried to advocate for the women, because one thing we know, even if you decide whether you're breastfeeding right from the breast or you're pumping or whatever, it helps to have a tranquil space. So to walk into this dark, gloomy, whatever you guys done assigned as the breast pumping room so that you can be compliant, that is not enough. And I think that's the next piece where we'll have to hold employers accountable, is to what the conditions are of the space, because that's equally important. But yeah, we do put a lot of pressure. Once you get past a year, like, you still breastfeeding? Why? So, let's as we start to transition, because I know we've been here and this is a great conversation. We could keep going, but let's talk about the weaning process. the sometimes easy, just like with breastfeeding, sometimes easy, sometimes the struggle is real, weaning process. Now for me, with my 9-year-old Camille, she weaned herself at 11 months. I went to give her, and she was like, get that thing out of here. I'm done. Started drinking from a cup, kept it moving. What about for you all? Whoever, Robin, what about for you? Have you started the weaning process yet?
Yes, I have, and it's been very challenging.
Okay.
With my first son, I want to say we did, like, I tried, it was hard, and it took maybe like 2 nights of him screaming, crying all night long. I had to sleep in a different room, and it took 2 nights. That was it. This one here, no, he will cry and cry and cry, but I can say it's been about a good week since he last latched. So we're getting there.
Woo! Check you out. Okay. Again,
He still, like, he tries to, like, go down my shirt, or if he sees me, like, without my shirt on or something, he'll hurry up and try to go, and I'm like, no, we're not doing this. So it's been about a good week.
well, kudos to you. So that's a good amount of time. So that's awesome.
And, like, for a while, he would not take a bottle from me. He would only take a bottle from whoever else. But once I was there, no bottles. But he's doing a bottle now. He's doing his cup. We're getting there.
That's right. Baby steps, literally baby steps. That's where that comes from too, like baby steps. What about you, Aaron?
So I started weaning him because I was going on vacation. And so I was like, we're not going to have these issues. So let's go ahead. And I was going to have my sister watch him. So I was like, let's go ahead and start getting you, acclimated. So first thing I started to do is, instead of him just coming up at any moment, we started like, okay, breakfast, lunch, nap time, dinner. Then we cut out nap time and we just did breakfast, lunch, go to bed. Then I took out I took out lunch, then we just did breakfast in bed. And so I started, like, every week I started taking away one. And then he started to realize, wait a minute, something's not right. What are you doing? And so at night when he would go to bed, which is probably another topic that I need help with to get him out of our bed.
Me too.
At night when he would go to bed, he would wake up and his automatic would be
right.
And I'm like, no. And then he would cry for about 2 seconds and then he would lay back down, but he would massage my boobs. Like, maybe I comfort her, she will comfort me.
Oh, his wife's gonna be so thankful to you.
Right. And so that lasted for about a week. And then the week that we were going on vacation, we were no milk at all. And I just didn't say the word. Yeah. And I have a habit of walking. We're free in this house. So I have a habit of walking around. And so when he would see, he would be like this, or he would sit in his crib and he'd be like, and like, so it was difficult in the beginning once he like started to realize, oh, she's taking away my milk. But now that it's been almost a month, he every now and then he still will try to stick his hand in my shirt, or he'll try to, let me see if I can rub it the right way, and she give me one. But other than that, it's been better. He's had a couple moments where he spazzed out, and then I'm just like, it's okay. Let's go get some oat milk. Let's go, and he'll look at me like, I guess I'll take this, but I don't want it.
Right.
But, it wasn't as challenging as I thought it was going to be.
Good.
But we've made it a month, so he's good.
Hey, listen, that's where we are now. And lastly, Danielle, for you, I know you are just starting out, but do you already kind of have yourself set on how long you would like to breastfeed for?
Listen, I have no expectations. I am the doula who went into my own birth with no birth plan whatsoever. I was like, I know that stuff will go left. Therefore, I'm not even going to set myself up that way because my feelings would be hurt. And I think that I'm doing the same with breastfeeding. I virtually have no particular goals in mind, but I have to tell y'all that from listening to y'all, I'm the one who, now that Jacoby is 3 months, I hadn't thought about, okay, he's going to be feeding differently. He had been feeding, it felt like every 1-2 hours. And now I'm the one looking for him like, bruh, you don't need me? Like, we're like, come on, like we doing this thing. My breasts are waiting for you. And so I am personally the one who's struggling that he is, maturing a little bit and getting a different schedule in regarding feeding. So I might be the one calling y'all, like, help me to be the one to accept the fact that he is ready to wean whenever he wants. I'm not leaving any expectations out there because if my desires don't happen, my little heart is going to be hurt because this little boy doesn't want or does want, or I'm going to let it rock.
I love that. And as boy moms, in true boy mom fashion, girl mom fashion, whichever you're representing, I got both dueling it out there. It is. It's like, that is definitely something, just kind of let it rock. You ladies are amazing. Such beautiful spirits, such amazing energy. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us as it relates to our celebration for Black Breastfeeding Week. We are going to wrap up this conversation here. And for those of you who are tuning in, whether the playback or live, make sure you share this video, share this content. It was a lot of amazing things here, but most of all, you saw 5 Black women. We know Elle had to jump off to handle some other business, but you saw 5 Black women on here coming together, sharing our journey. These are the stories and the things that oftentimes are said don't happen, but we know differently, and that's what we are here to represent. So if you could please, starting with Robin, just let people know where they can follow you to keep in touch, with your story and all the wonderful things you are doing. And okay, she dropped off too. So you can follow Robin at rockin_Robin on Instagram. How about, oh wait, she might be back. Hold on.
Wait, I'm sorry.
I was like, if you ain't want to say where people get followed,
no. My phone went out twice. I'm sorry, but I'm back.
That's okay.
You can follow me on Instagram at Rockin' Robin. It's ROBIN_ROCKIN. Rockin' Robin.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And what about you, Danielle?
Yes, I am on Instagram at Raising Mama Right. That is right with a W. My little corny took my husband's last name, so I'm going to use it as many times as I can.
Love it. And last but certainly not least, Erin, where can everyone keep in touch with you?
Definitely. So on Instagram, you can find me at mom_convos_and confessions. And, the same way that you all are doing here, I just try to keep it as real as possible because I'm a first-time mom and I don't know half of the stuff that I am going through.
As a second-time mom, I don't know half of the stuff I'm going through. So, kudos to all of you. Thank you for your transparency. Happy Black Breastfeeding Week to each of you. Thank you for feeding the culture. I always say, how they say we are the culture. Thank you for birthing and feeding the culture. That is important. So, as you all know, we thank you so much for continuing to rock out with us. It's Black Breastfeeding Week all the way till August 31st. On Saturday, we're going to do a little play on continuing this conversation around breastfeeding, Black breastfeeding, with a little thing that's been circulating called titty talks. And no, it's not sexual. So if you Google it and something else come up, we don't got nothing to do with that part. But this is all about us embracing our experiences. We want to continue to use this platform to share resources. You've just met 3 resources here that are amazing in our community and rocking out. So thank y'all so much. Keep following us, cocolife.black on IG, Facebook, and the web. That is actually our website, www.cocolife.black. That's right. I don't know if y'all know, but .black is a domain. We're on YouTube, cocolife.black. But thank you all for being such a blessing, and peace out. Have a great day, y'all.